So this really follows on from another video I did about using humour. I was up in Salt Lake City, and this is another one. I was in Monterray in Mexico, and we had around about, I'm going to say about 80 to 100 people in the room. We've had two groups. We had one group that came from Mexico and another group came from Brazil. So apparently the group that came from Mexico were good with English. They were okay. They could understand, or they could understand me, which takes a bit of doing. Where the other group that came from Brazil, who were speaking Portuguese as their native language, their English wasn't quite so good. So they were going to have an earpiece, and they would have my presentation, my workshop, translated through a translator in the room. Now, if you're ever doing a workshop or a presentation and you have a translator in the room, quick tip for you, make friends with the translator before the day starts. They can either make you look good or they can make you really look bad. Anyway, I was sort of chatting to them before the workshop and all was good. And what I have to do, of course, is I have to pace myself a little bit so the translator, the interpreter, can keep up, and therefore I have to sort of make little breaks. Anyway, in the afternoon, I was asked, as happens to me a lot, there's a pattern here, was could I drop in some English humour into the workshop, into the event, and to keep them awake and that sort of thing. So that was fine. Now, it doesn't matter what the joke was or the humour was, because I've got into trouble for these things in the past anyway. However, I said this amazing, incredibly funny, humorous story. Anyway, so it came to the punchline, bang, let it go. Now, all the people who could understand English sat there, 50 of them all dotted around this sort of room, and they just sat there and they politely smiled and nodded, and not a lot happened. And then about 10 seconds later, the people who were heard the message through the translator, they literally roared with laughter, and literally they were crying with laughter. And I thought, that was great, brilliant. My jokes do work after all. Anyway, so we finished off the workshop and came to the end. We had a quick sort of debrief for the team, this sort of thing. And I went over to thank the lady who was doing the translating for me, and I said, I hope I didn't speak too fast and all this sort of thing. No, that was good. And I said, how did you do that? How did you translate my joke, my humour, my funny story into Portuguese? And she looked at me, she just shook her head. She said, in English, she said to me, well, your jokes suck. So I told my own, and so she hadn't even told my joke. And of course, her joke worked, and they thought it was hilarious. And the people who can understand English didn't think my joke was funny. So I'm beginning to figure out now that I shouldn't tell my jokes on stage, because sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. But when you're working with an interpreter, it's just make sure they know you, they tune into your voice. Maybe you've got to slow down a little bit so they can understand, and leave some gaps at the end of sentences so that they can catch up with you and get the audience to understand. And if you're going to tell a joke, be prepared. They might know, if your joke's no good or it sucks, as mine apparently do, they might just replace it with another one completely. But it was a great event. I don't think anybody took any offence or noticed any difference. I haven't been invited back, however, but still, that's a separate story. But still, anyway, so if you're working with a translator, slow down, leave some gaps so they can keep up with you, be nice to them, and let them rewrite your jokes as well. So a little tip from the road as you go along. So check out the website, resultsrules.ok.com. Lots of books and templates and videos to have a look at, and you can book on a workshop and come to an event and meet the team, meet the clients, and I look forward to meeting you and seeing you over a coffee or something. So in the meantime, till you do that, have a great week, have a great month, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.